What race is Aragorn, son of Arathorn? What complexion is he? And what was he meant to be? I'm going to talk a little bit about that in this video. Hey guys, before I jump in, I have a quick request from this side of the camera. Please smash that like button, and especially if you're new, please consider subscribing to the channel. That would really help me out a lot. Hey all, on the eve of the release of Flashpoint, this whole thing with the ethnicity of the Lord of the Rings, Aragorn, son of Arathorn, this whole thing has kind of come out of nowhere. I've been watching it develop similar to the Cleopatra Netflix thing, and I wanted to say a few words on it. I do have a bit of a history with the Lord of the Rings. I did read the books, and I do own all three installments of Peter Jackson's movie adaptation. So I have all of the extended versions of it. There was a point at which I was watching those regularly. I haven't watched them recently, but I wanted to get on here and say a few words about it. I'm going to read an article regarding the controversy, and on the back end of me reading it, I'm going to say some concluding words and thoughts. So I'll see you on the other side. This article is from Newsweek 90 and is entitled "Black Aragorn in Lord of the Rings Sparks Outrage, hate this so much." Or that's, quote, "hate this so much." This was written by Alex Phillips on May 29th, 2023, and it was published at 5:41 a.m. The changing of a Lord of the Rings character's race from white to black in a collectible card game has sparked controversy online. New artwork portraying Aragorn, a human character in J.R.R. Tolkien high fantasy and magic, The Gathering, released on social media on Sunday, was met with both praise and outrage, with one user reacting, quote, "I hate this so much." Race-swapping characters have been the subject of controversy before. While advocates argue that such moves improve representation in popular works of fiction, critics argue that they are not true to the source material. The issue of race-swapping characters is part of a wider debate about whether characters of minority groups should be played by actors who are not of those minorities. Some say minority actors who have historically been overlooked should be given those parts to improve representation in the arts, while others say actors should be able to portray any character well. Though Aragorn has been portrayed as white in previous Lord of the Rings media, in the Magic the Gathering artwork, he is depicted as a black man with hair twists and a graying goatee beard. For me, that image looks kind of like Wesley Snipes, but let me know what you all think. "This is just race baiting," Thomas Crown tweeted in response. "A publicity stunt in the worst taste. I find it hard to understand why would it be beneficial to take a Númenórean, describes a fair-skinned, or described as fair-skinned, and turn it into another race." Federico Martani, an Italian artist, wrote, "Isn't it more empowering to have great characters that fit a race and are proud of it, instead of taking well-established ones and swapping them out?" Aragorn is described in the books as of Númenórean descent, a fictitious group of people who were fair-skinned. However, in a letter, Tolkien wrote that Númenóreans were best pictured in say Egyptian terms, though it is debated whether he meant in cultural or ethnic terms. This is a lovely piece of artwork, and while I never imagined Aragorn as black, Tolkien might well have, Matt Thrower, a gaming writer, said, citing Tolkien's letter. I'm sorry. I guess there was one letter. This is a lovely piece of artwork, and while I never imagined Aragorn as black, Tolkien might well have, Matt Thrower, a gaming writer, said, citing Tolkien's letter. Gamer bros and dudes are willing to believe in orcs, trolls, wizards, talking trees, giant effing owls, but a black man in their fantasy? Shock horror, one Twitter user wrote. Another responded, there's nothing wrong with a black guy in fantasy, but there is something wrong with race swaps of established and clearly defined characters. Newsweek approached Hasbro Magic, the Gathering's parent company, via email for comment on Monday. In The Fellowship of the Ring, Tolkien describes Aragorn as having a shaggy head of dark hair, flecked with gray, and in a pale, stern face, a pair of keen, gray eyes. When the race swap first came to light, one Reddit user noted that Tolkien was a professor of Anglo-Saxon culture and a philologist, someone who studies language, who constructed Lord of the Rings from his studies of ancient Anglo-Saxon and Gaelic folklore, which were based in European tradition. They also said how wrong it would be to make Black Panther, a Marvel character, white, and claimed this was an accurate analogy. The user added that they were happy with the race and gender swaps when it is done well. According to Bounding into Comics, Adam Styborski, a content manager for Wizards of the Coast, of which Magic the Gathering is a subsidiary, said in 2022, The Lord of the Rings is about the different peoples of Middle-earth coming together to fight Sauron, finding strength in their diversity. We want to make this appealing story fresh and relevant to an even wider audience. It is not the first time a character's race has been swapped in popular culture. In the first Iron Man movie and subsequent Marvel films, Nick Fury was portrayed by Samuel L. Jackson despite being white in the comics. Perhaps the most controversial race swap was the decision by J.K. Rowling, author of the Harry Potter books, to cast the character Hermione as black for the stage play Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. While Rowling said the casting of Noma Dumazweni in the role was announced in 2015, that white skin was never specified for the character in the books. Fans have pointed to instances in the books where Hermione is described as having a white face and is illustrated as such on various front covers. So this whole reimagining characters thing is really, it's really grown legs, and it's really trying to take off. I am a bit of a traditionalist, so I believe in sticking with the source material. So it turns out in Marvel, Nick Fury he was actually depicted as a white character initially. I was not as familiar with the Marvel comics, so when Samuel L. Jackson played Nick Fury, I didn't really kind of say to myself, that's weird. Nick Fury is black, but he's supposed to be white. But I am familiar with The Lord of the Rings, and as a traditionalist and as one who believes in sticking with the source material, I don't think Aragorn needs to be black. I think some things should be left as they are, if for no reason, out of respect for the author, in this instance, Mr. Tolkien. I do know that imaging matters. I do know that seeing oneself on screen matters. And speaking of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, here's a quick story. I do remember briefly moving in with my father after the 3 movies were released, the 3 Lord of the Rings movies, the original 3, not the Hobbits. But I had the extended editions, and I was watching those pretty regularly. And I remember my father, who was a black baby boomer, and who, in a lot of instances, has a racial chip on his shoulder. He came in one day, and he saw me watching one of the movies. Elijah Wood was on the screen, and he went into one of his crazy rants about every time I come in, he says, every time I come in, I see his face on the TV. His face is always on the TV. That's odd. And I was thinking, well, Dad, this is the main character. And then he goes on and on he goes on with this rant about how in the Army it was an issue whenever black characters were on the screen. So in other words, his white colleagues, his white platoon members, or whatever you want to call them, he said there was an issue whenever there were black characters on TV, but there was never an issue when there were white characters on TV. I don't know if that's true. I don't know. But what I do know is that I did notice years ago when watching the movies and when watching the extended edition of the movies, I did notice, there are no black people in here. But I was okay with that. That's the world that J.R.R. Tolkien imagined. That's what he brought to life, and that's what captivated everyone, and that's what we all fell in love with. And it was an epic with characters and a villain and a story. And at the end of the day, that's what I care about, is a good story with characters I can connect to and with a villain. That's what I care about. So I say keep Aragorn the way he was, and I say keep characters the way that they were, and come up with unique characters that we can gravitate towards and attach to, and write good stories and plots for those characters, and we'll gravitate towards them. In any case, let me know what you think in the comments section below. This is Big Discussions 76 Entertainment and Media. My name is Dr. Anwar Youssef Dunbar. Please like this video, please share it, and please subscribe to my channel. If you want to donate something to the channel, that information is below in the description box in the form of my Cash App and PayPal. Finally, please consider joining the Big Words LLC Newsletter. In addition to being a YouTube content creator, I am also a writer with 2 blogs and a book project on the way. And with that, everyone, stay safe out there. And as always, remember that your attitude determines your altitude. Always try to do your best. Take care, and I will talk to you the next time. Bye-bye.